Hello folks, this is Josh Cooper here with my third webinar. There's a new version of the executive summary that's been launched. It's actually been covered. There's been some questions on how did the 35.3 million and everything go. The good news is the new version has in the general summary a complete and logically based, in my opinion, balanced accounting of all the documents there regarding the error. Down here is where the list is. Here's the part where they mention it. The ending balance shown a $35.3 million discrepancy. I'm just going to use the term error from now on, or discrepancy, just so there's not any confusion or any items with that. I appreciate DCSDs. I'm assuming their comments and appreciation absolutely do that. I am not a fan of Megan Silverthorne's comment saying it is untrue. So 3 people in the room, 2 are saying it's true, 1 saying it's not, especially being a resident of Parker, as I do reside in her District G. All that said, I'm not worried about that. We can go over that in another webinar on the history of the communications and all that stuff. That said, I want to look at the 2 new documents. Basically, what you see up here in the left is the document I presented at the 6/9/16 meeting. This is where all the originally started from, where all the crazy hubbub and all that stuff. Don't want to go down that train. You can go on the social medias. You can look at what you want to do. And here is the new version, this version 4. That's posted on their website. It was actually posted last night, and then they released a press release today on the 24th. Just want to note a couple things here. There is no note about a revision, and it says presented to the board, but like I said, this was posted on 6/23. I actually downloaded it yesterday afternoon. All said and done, just schematics. Let's actually look at what numbers have changed. So I'm just going to pull the 2 documents up right here. So just going through line by line. Apparently I need something to do on a Friday. The BOE contingency has increased here. So was 0 in the previous document. It has gone up $2,368,004. So that delta is $2.4 million. Please remember that number. $2.4 million is going to become a very common and consistent number here. Then we go in here, the change in fund balance, which is just saying, hey, now that all this stuff is wrapped up, we've had some new BOE contingency, all the numbers racked and stacked. How does it come out? The delta on that is still $2.4 million. So it goes up, goes down. You can see there. So in the 6/9 document, it was a positive 1.7 million. And now it's a negative 630K essentially. All that stuff, it carries down. The ending fund balance has gone up from 46.4 million to now 79.36 million. So the delta on that one, here's a second number, is at 33 million essentially, $32,963,996. And if you look, that positive delta there is reflected down in here. So that same delta is just captured in the same spot. So there's 2 numbers. Like I said, there's that 33 million, and then there's that 2.4 million. And if you actually add those 2 numbers up, they add up to the $35.3 million difference that is added up to. So let me actually go through the numbers. This, I know, is a little daunting. It's crazy. It's a big spreadsheet. This is actually, the first part is actually what I sent to the Board of Education on the 22nd. So let's back that up. So version 4 was posted on the 23rd. On the 22nd, I mentioned it because I found this adopted version, version 2, that was posted online. And I kind of said, hey, I looked at it really quick. Unfortunately, I did not get a download copy of it, but I have an email to the BOE and CFO Bet saying, hey, I'd noticed some issues and all that stuff. Never heard back. But the good news is whatever was found was corrected in the version 4. And that's all I'm really looking for, is do the numbers add up? So I basically kind of provided the summary of the original document, the version 2 there, and then I did some math just based off, hey, how do we do the numbers here? If we base it off this way, or if we base it off that way, what do we get? And then since then, I've actually created this executive summary version 4. This is basically the latest document, the document that's posted. So let's actually kind of go through that. Big stuff, a lot of numbers, kind of crazy. All you need to know is let's just shrink it down. revenues, transfers in, transfers out, expenditures, all the stuff that actually changes what affects the budget, no change at all, perfectly fine. So that doesn't change the budget and everything there. So the discrepancies here are dealing with the estimated actual in fiscal year 2015-13. So there's two corrections that had to have been made. So we went through the first webinar. We went through it. Here's the 46 that they originally had. You've seen these numbers. The end balance when you actually apply math, just carrying that equation over, is at 81,728,194. Notice this number, that 2.4 million was up there. Let me take it back to what it was, and that's at $33 million right there. So if you look at that, taking this back, going back to the original system here, follow this orange line. So I claimed it was just 35.3 million there. The balance discrepancy, which is shown from Hay, if I take this year's estimated actual ending balance, as in Hay, we're still working the numbers, we're going through the system, but we think we're going to end at essentially 46.4 million. Wouldn't that number carry over to the starting balance for 2016-17? Just kind of thing like you're changing calendar, your budget, your checkbook doesn't change when you go from December 31st to January 1st, but it's more of a calendar year accounting style system. So anyways, you take that and the difference is that $2.4 million. So like I said, this is where the first error was this green arrow. Basically the 79 plus the 1 didn't add up to the 81. So you can see here that means a no, it didn't add up. And then these numbers didn't carry over. None of them carried over that made sense there. And so all I was just asking was, where did these numbers come from? So the good news is, we'll scroll over to the next one, is in version 2, they fixed the first part, the green arrow. So we went from the 71 to the 878. Great. Absolutely love it. Fantastic. However, when we had the first meeting, I said, hey, here's the issue, but there's another discrepancy you may want to look at. And that's that discrepancy up here, that $2.4 million. It's still hanging around. So, like we said, so we fixed the first error. Now we're just down to that 2.4. Now, remember that number because it's going to come in big here. These next two systems are just saying, hey, that 2.4 million is kind of hanging out there. So is this going to hang? I made the assumption of, well, is it going to hang and go over to the 2016-17 budget, or is it going to, but they actually chose to keep it in the 2015-16 estimated actual. So there's a little bit difference in thinking there. Because if it were to carry over and you were to do those numbers and it all added up, your ending fund balance, if you used it based off the revised budget, would carry over here. And that's what concerned me. We'd be kind of in a negative fund balance. Like I said, these are just absolutely hypotheticals. I've sent both to say, hey, is this option A? Is it option B? Or is this something else I don't know? I never did get a response to the email, but like I said, the good news is version 4 is the updated correct version on a numbers linking up accounting system. The second one is just saying, well, if it's not going to be the final revised budget, is it maybe the estimated actual? So that 81, would it carry over and all that stuff? So the ending balance with reserve actually is in the positive, which I think is a good thing going from that. So anyways, we'll just take that all down and we'll just go to the documents that have been published. So this right here is the version 4. The good news is the balance discrepancy. See up here, it's gone. So they went through and they corrected the first arrow and they got that to work. And then the arrows link all over here and all that other stuff. But here's where the change is. Remember that $2.4 million discrepancy, discrepancy, miscalculation, whatever? Well, that has now been inserted into the BOE contingency for the estimated actuals for 2015 and 16. Basically, they're saying, hey, there's now $2.4 million back kind of in the budget for this remainder year, which is good because if it was to carry over to the 16-17 year, then it probably could affect. That's additional money that could change and affect the 16-17 budget, which would therefore have to go through all the BOE regulations and approvals and all that other stuff, and they'd have to redo that stuff. So the accounting error is a two-part step here. It was basically, like I said, coming all the way here. It was just accounting for the first part, that blue, the green arrow, that were just saying, hey, something's not adding up when you come up to ending fund balance. That was my first thing. And then I said, hey, you're off this $2.4 million. Put that $2.4 million essentially on the fence. Where does it go? Do we keep it in 15-16 because it's underestimated actuals in 15 and 16, or do we roll it over in 16-17? So CFO Betts, I think, did the correct call. She kept it in 15-16 and didn't roll it over, because then that would just change all the paperwork and all the other stuff, and they have to go through that, especially since there's only 6 days left by the law when they have to get this all in. So I hope that explains everything for how did we get the $35.3 million. That $35.3 million, like I said, has been recognized by DCSD. I stand by my numbers. I am sorry Director Silverthorne is in disagreement with that. I do hope this video helps her enlighten that. So I will add one side bit. So based off the new numbers in version 4, so the original budget was 872, or sorry, the original final revised budget for 15-16, just looking in the last year, was 872. But now the good news is we got $2.4 million kind of thrown back in. So that difference is actually $1.5 million, kind of, I guess you could almost say, added back in, value added or something. So it was a percent change of 171% increase. So wish I could get a finder's fee, but now it's back to the BOE contingency. So I honestly hope the BOE uses it wisely. My personal preference is it goes to the teachers' salaries and everything there. They work hard. A nice little summer bonus wouldn't hurt them. But that's just my own personal preference. So anyways, I hope this answers the question on where the $35.3 million is. A little detailed and saying, hey, it was a 2-step process and it all carried out. But the big final summary is the new version 4 that's posted on the website and everything there has a value-based, has a correct budget. All the numbers link up, it all adds up, looking great. So I'm sorry if there was any confusion with Director Silverthorne. She has my email. She can email me anytime. Thank you once again, folks, and I will keep working on some other webinars. Thank you.